before I was going to say turn on the mic, hopped on, whatever you want to call it, we literally were sitting here talking about how we're heading into cuffing season. And we had to give Lauren a debrief on the episode cuffing season. So if you have not heard it, please go back and listen to it because it will give you a good foundational understanding of like the draft, preseason, active season, and then the Super Bowl. Okay. So basically, that season where people start being coupled up is upon us. Mm-hmm. And I think it's causing people to look a lot at the dating pool. I've been seeing so many things online about this is a better city to date and this is a horrible city to date. And so I was like, let's talk about it because I don't know exactly what's happening in the dating pool right now.
You're blessed.
But a part of me is wondering, like, is it that bad? Like, is it as bad as people are saying it is? So yeah, that's a question for whoever wants to answer it. I know
I can go first.
I was gonna say Ayana counsels people. So
let me knock it out. Let me go ahead and get it out the way. I wish I could be like the person with the tea and be like, I went on this date and this and that and that, but I'm just not. I don't know what the dating pool is like. I want to know what the dating pool is like from a perspective of people genuinely trying to meet other people. I don't really care about the tea and this and that, and I don't really care about that. But I do wish, but I ain't got no tea. I wish I did. So my perspective is solely gonna be from what I've heard in the streets. Just putting that disclaimer out there.
Reporting live, Denisa on location.
I would say the dating pool has been pretty consistent.
Ooh.
At least it's consistent in what it's been. But I think for me, like my outlook about dating has really, really changed. Like I'm more positive in response now than I think I was in the past. In the past, I used to be like, these ain't just in all sincerity. But now I'm just like, I'm cool with it. I'm just like, whatever, God. I trust you. So whenever the time is right, it'll be right. And I love that I'm that way too, because like I celebrate people when they do find, their significant others. Like I have friends now who are like, they were me like 2 years ago, and now they're about to walk down the aisle next year. So it's exciting to see that because it lets me know that God answering somebody's prayers. But as far as the pool, I don't know. I keep hearing people say it got pee in it. I think it does, but I don't know. I think the pool guy probably came out. Like I think we booked an appointment for the
maintenance.
Pool guy.
He didn't perform the maintenance.
Right. The pool might be open. It might be. I don't know. So
you're saying
when you put it that way, I realized that like for years I've been on the shallow end of the dating pool, right? Like I want to put my foot in it, but I was like, nah, I don't really want to put my foot in it. But at this moment, it's like, okay, I might can swim on out a little bit. I might can,
right. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know if I'm gonna put my foot in it, but the thing is, I truly believe that there's gonna be somebody else standing at the same end that I'm standing in.
I hope somebody push you in.
No, they don't have to push me in, but he and I both gonna be like, you want to get into that? Nah, we'll just let God handle it, and we'll go to the side and get to know each other like that. So maybe we don't even have to put our foot in the dating pool, but maybe God orchestrates it in such a way where we find ourselves in the same position around the pool. That's what I'm thinking.
So
I don't know.
So not in the pool, but around the pool?
But around the pool, like close enough.
Oh,
like TD Jake said something last week. He said something about the vortex. He was saying like a vortex means like you get sucked in, but you're not really like in it,
You know what
I didn't even let you finish. Sis said no.
Because I'm thinking about the pool where the lame man was, and they was like, why you ain't get in the pool? He was like, ain't nobody to help me in the pool. And it was almost like, man, if you don't get up and get in the pool, you don't really want it because you ain't trying to get in the pool. And that's what the Bible has said. So
you're saying I really don't want it because I won't hop in?
Yes. Dang, I wasn't. Because I'm sitting here like
you did that earlier, Day. You did what Ayana did earlier.
I'm like, how are you going? Like, because I was about to say, Lauren, you going anywhere? You doing anything? How you gonna say you want to, dibble dabble in the pool if you not,
It's different, yo. It's just so different. Like, you know, I think I was more prone to go places in Atlanta than I am here in Florida. And I'm from Florida. And maybe that's the difference, is like, I don't know, me just being from here, and it's just like the vibes are so different here.
What do you
So,
mean
so you're
different?
saying that you're not ready, like you don't want to date in Florida.
No,
It's
that's
an
not what I'm
excuse.
saying. It might be.
It is because she didn't date here. So I mean, it's no different. Like,
But
I did.
I
Well,
vividly
did.
recall Lauren
You're right.
saying she was open though. Like I vividly recall
I am
Lauren
open.
saying like, I'm open to dating.
Yeah, but
now it sounds like she's trying to backtrack.
but Lauren go back and forth every week.
Because I'd be scared. Like, imagine you seeing people drown in the pool. You standing by the pool and you seeing people drown, and you see one person finally get they stroke and they finally swimming, but then you see like 12 other people drowning. You like, oh.
Or they hit their head at the bottom and had to float to the top. Somebody got to come save them.
Right.
Get too
It's
deep.
like, Lord, I don't know if I should. It's safe
I
out here.
all right, not to sound deep or anything.
All right, Ayana,
But-
let me know.
Like, I believe, and I know for a fact that you have a spirit of discernment, because you done peeped some folks before a whole lot of people peeped them. I can like a bunch of folks. Like Lauren, it's been people that we know. Lauren knew from jump that they weren't it. Male, female, everything. And I was like, dang, she was right. So you have a spirit of discernment. Yeah. And I believe that, you know, with you meeting people and getting to know people, you're not gonna drown. You're not gonna hit your head. Like, I don't think there's anything to be afraid of. You are a smart girl. You know what you want, and you gonna get what you want. Like, I believe that there are guys out there who fit the standards that you have, and vice versa. Like, I
believe that too. I mean,
you just gotta put yourself out there though.
Yeah, that's the challenge. In all truth, I don't know about in all true transparency, I don't know about transformation yet, but yeah, that's the challenge. But you know, just to kind of share a little transparency, I literally last week, and I've prayed this before, but I think this time I meant it. Like, I was like, God, you just gonna have to show me what to do, because there's a part of me that has not been in it for so long where I'm comfortable, but then there's a part of me that still desires it. And then there's a part of me, I'm gonna be honest, there's a part of me that has some trauma because of past relationships that I've allowed myself to get into and what that's brought. And my grandfather, before he passed, he shared with me, like, you know, like, don't discount the past relationships. He was like, because those were lessons like that you learn. But I'm just like, I know life is an ever evolving lesson, but I'm like, God, the I guess the level of emotions that those lessons brought me through, I don't ever want to feel that ever again. And if that's what comes with it, then I'm content being in the place that I'm in, because I know I've said this to you all before, like, I really want whatever relationship that I'm involved in, I want it to add or multiply to my life. And, you know, to your point, Ayana, it does take a strong spirit of discernment, but I really just feel like I'm asking God that he takes the lead in it, because if it's up to me, I would just kind of be where I'm at right now. So.
Gotcha.
But I ain't the only one that's around the pool, so I just want to divert the attention to my other co-hosts.
I'll say this though, like, before Denise even start, I really appreciate y'all being vulnerable in these areas, because it's not easy. And, you know, Sade and I can't necessarily relate to certain things. And like my relation to it is even further out than, let's say, Sade's relation to it. I have been in a relationship for quite a long time. So the dating pool that I was in versus 2022 is very different. So there's only so much that I know and I can bring to, I guess, the conversation. So I really appreciate y'all being open and vulnerable. I just want to say that.
Yeah, y'all's honesty is refreshing. And I feel like even when I was in the dating pool, I feel like I respect Denise and Lauren so much because I don't feel like I didn't approach dating as a Christian woman as I should have. I was out there
free falling, skydiving.
okay, backflipping in the pool. Like I tell people all the time, like I enjoy singleness to the last drop. I wrung it out, okay, and was like,
but let's be real. Is there anything really wrong with that?
I honestly feel like people in church will tell you yes. Like I literally was having a conversation with somebody about like, okay, me and Emmett, we've been married for 2 years in December. And she was like, you know, like when y'all dated, and I was like, yeah, me and Emmett broke up before or whatever. And I dated people in between that. And she was like, really? You wasn't just da-da-da? And I was like, no, absolutely not. And I let him know too. Go date whoever you want to date. And if you meant for me, you want to right back here. And I'm going to do what I want to do because I'm not going to sit around and twiddle my thumbs. It's like, no, I'm going to meet people and explore or whatever. Not to say, and we've had this conversation on the podcast too, that don't mean you out here having sex with everybody, because that's the first thing that comes to people's mind. It's like, if you're dating different people, then you're being intimate with all of these people, which does not have to be true. But I feel like if you're single, and I'll put it like this, I would never want to be in a marriage as a person or with a person who did not figure out who and what they wanted before me. And I feel like sometimes as a young adult, as a young Christian adult, if you aren't, you know, completely solid in like, these are the things that I like, these are the things that I don't like, this is the type of man and values that I want, this is the type of man and values that I don't want, that if you don't date different people and figure that out for yourself, then you'll be in a marriage figuring that out. And I don't want to be that person, and I don't want to be with a person who's like that. So I would prefer to date and get to know different people and be with someone who's dated every type of woman that they want to date. They've dated a woman who's a boss and they're making their own money. They've dated a woman who's super quiet and docile and comforting. They've dated a woman who gonna curse you out. They've dated a woman who gonna pray in tongues over you when you sick. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up at this point. But a person who has been in enough situations and relationships to know this is what I want. And when I'm in my marriage, I'm not seeking to find out what else is out there because I know. And I mean, some people don't agree with that. So,
I mean, it's basically getting to know people, because I was just about
to say that.
I think the biggest thing when it comes to dating, especially in the Christian world or whatever, is stop looking at it as this person you're going to marry. This is a friend. You're getting to know this person the same way you meet a girl, and you be like, hey girl, you know, da, 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 like how we all met each other, and we actually went out and hung out with each other. We go to lunch, we go to dinner, we've been over each other's houses, all over the place. You know, we go to group settings, whatever.
Yeah.
Why can't you do that with the opposite sex? And just look at them as, I'm getting to know you.
Right.
Not creating this big fantasy of the altar right when you like, oh, that's my husband. Girl, that ain't your husband. Just hang out with the dude. You know, like just hang out, because you don't know him. So I don't see nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with getting to know people.
I was gonna say, and I'm gonna let Denise answer.
No, you're good. There's no rush here.
No, I know it's not, but we gonna rush. No, I was gonna add to what Sade said, because I can respect, you know, definitely an individual like you, but I know that there are some women who are kind of like myself, who I know I vocalized this before on the podcast, how I'm not like crazy over dating. Like it's not something I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait, da 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 da. I know it's a process and I know it's a necessary process, but I more so cling to the friendship aspect of like getting to know someone as a friend, because, you know, to Ayana's point, the foundation of any relationship is friendship. And I think I would just, and I know I'm single, so, you know, and I know these are two married women giving you advice, so I would, you know, kind of listen to them, but I believe too, for me, it's like
before you say what you're about to say, I don't want you to discount the information that you're about to give. Like, you and Denisa are so wise. And I mean, even with me saying what I said, it's like I look at y'all and I am not inspired because I can't go on to do what y'all are doing, but I can't think of the word. Like, I look at you guys in such high regard for your level of standards and for you being able to say, you know, this is how I'm moving. So
Yeah.
It's also personalities. Like, you look at Sade's personality, my personality, Denise,
That part,
you know,
yeah.
we all have different personalities. When I was single, I was extremely shy, so I wouldn't do what
Yeah.
Sade did. Like, you know, but Sade is it's funny. She's an extrovert, but she's an introvert.
Introvert, yeah.
Like,
Ambivert.
yeah. And so, but me, I was just straight introvert. So, like,
Yeah.
it's different personalities. If that's your personality and you like to get to know people, it's nothing wrong with that. But also, if you're like me and it's like, you know what, I just may get to know this person and maybe that person and maybe, you know, that's
Yeah.
cool too. So
Yeah, I was going to add to like what Sade had already said, and said pretty much like, even at a friendship state, like, hold them to the standard. And it's something as simple, like it can be something as simple, like for your guy friends, even if you out with your guy friends, open the door for me. You know, like even something as simple as that. Because I mean, I had a guy tell me this one time. I don't agree with it. And this goes back to a conversation we've had before, but they say like guys are not just your friends just to be friends. Like, anytime a guy is a friend with you, there's possibly some thought in the back of his head, like what it could possibly be. Like, even if he doesn't act on it, but if he's a single guy, you're a single girl, just know that he's possibly thought about it. Whatever. I don't even think about that because I have too many guy friends to even try to think about that. But I will say that anytime I'm out with my guy friends, there is a standard, even in friendship, that I hold them to. Because my thing is, if you ain't doing it as my friend, I know when it's time to date, you ain't gonna want to do it, you know? And so for me, it's like there are certain things, especially like just at a friendship level, I'm like, you got to show me, you know, because to me that's a milestone to even get to the next level. So I would say that, you know, if you're the girl that's not necessarily the one that that dates frequently, like, which is me, number one, I think I'm realizing I make myself busy, but I know that I am busy. I know that I'm a very busy individual. But in that, it doesn't allow for me to date as frequently. So understand, if I've agreed to go on a date, that's a special thing, because typically I just kind of just focus on work, focus on goals, repeat, you know? And so my thing is, that's why I cherish those moments when I am just in a friendship group, you know, because I'm seeing how you not only move with me, but how you move even with my friends. Like, how do you treat my friends? Even if you're not attracted to my friends, are you opening the door for them? You know, are you being a gentleman around them? So things like that too is something I would encourage women to look at, even if they're not dating. So Denisa.
So recently, a friend of mine had like a birthday dinner, and there were like maybe like 8 or 9 of us that were there, and I believe only one person was married. 3 people were dating, and then like the rest of us were single. So we're all kind of like having this conversation about dating, and it's like cool hearing some girls like that are like Sade. That's like, yeah, I'm out here, I'm getting to know, and this is the type of people I get to know, and if it work, it work, and if it don't, it don't. And I remember just being like, ooh, Lord, you know, like I wish I could, like, as outgoing as I am, and I am an extrovert, like when it comes to dating, it just, my brain don't, it's a switch that for whatever reason, it won't switch. And I think it is kind of similar to what you said, Lauren. One, being single for a nice amount of time, but I am in full transparency. Although it had been single for a period of time, I was still not emotionally available. So in my mind, I don't count that time as, oh, I've been single for years. Because truthfully, even if I weren't single, my heart or my mind or my thoughts were with someone else. So it literally, you know, is a process of getting out of that fog of, you know, no longer being attached to anybody whatsoever.
That's so good, Denise.
You know,
stay right there. Give us a little bit more on that. What you touched on right there, because I feel it in my spirit that some of the listeners that's saying they want to date.
Even if I were like, say, even if this were a year today, Denisa is ready. She's open. You know, she's willing to date. She is. But if I'm being full transparent, like even a year ago, I would not have been. And I thank God that I didn't meet somebody, because although I was single, I used to hang out with my friends so much to keep me busy from not thinking about someone, or, you know what I mean? Used to work myself. So it's like, if I were have to meet someone nice, I wouldn't have been open to receiving everything truthfully and fully and the goodness that I know God has in store for me. I would have questioned it. I would have probably self-sabotaged. I would have did toxic stuff. You know, like I would have just questioned it. So right now in this space, it's two things. It's learning what this 32-year-old Denisa wants, right? Like the vision that I have for my family, what I want. We talk about men, but what do I want? And then am I comfortable when I do date saying what I want? Because I feel like it's been such a women want this, women want this. It's like, Lord, do I even want to tell somebody when I do go out with them what I want? And it's yes, I do. You know, but it's taking unlearning and relearning and just, you know, having friendships like this that aren't male haters and beaters and every man ain't, you know, that's not in my circle. And I say that every episode we're talking about dating because if it weren't for y'all, I don't know. I probably would have been on that city girl, you know, real bad. You know, that's just my transparency. But I think
what exactly does that mean, Denise? The city girl real bad. Where is that? What is that?
That mean if we being real transparent, I think I was in the car with you, Sade and Lauren. I do not know where you were, but I told them I was like, y'all, I am hot and bothered, and I gotta pray not in a text. That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Carisha, please.
That's what I mean. In full transparency.
I think
this
you,
season,
I remember you saying that to me another time. I don't know. I could have been in the car, but I remember that.
yeah.
You know what I had to do, Denisa? I know every man talks about a little black book that he has, but women has a book themselves. And I remember burning my book. And I was like, God, what am I doing? Why am I deleting all these chats and contacts? But I did that. I purged.
I'm finally there. I did that. I want to say in April of this year, where I finally have been like, you know what? No, how you doing? What's up? Liking your story? Get nothing. Like just don't. You know. So it's been a nice little space. Yeah. But I do want to make sure that like it's cute to be like, oh yeah, I'm dating. I want to date. But if you're not emotionally ready and you know you're still attached, sit down somewhere. Because that's what I had to do.
Yeah, and that's how people get hurt.
Yeah. And don't hurt people, you know?
Yeah. What were you about to say, Lauren?
No, I mean, that was it. I was just saying about the little black book. I think everybody has a little black book, but I think sometimes, and I can only speak about my experience, when I had my little black book, I remember there were a few guys, I ain't gonna lie, like we were still attached. Like honestly, they could have called me and I would have been like, oh yeah, let's hang out, you know? And those particular guys, like, you know, you got a roster, you know, you got the ones that almost like we're talking about
starting point guard.
You got the starting five.
Yes.
Then you got people on the bench. Then you got the practice team, you know, where you just go, you know, practice.
Yeah, Lauren. First of all, how you gonna sit there talking about, oh, you know, I'm not like Sade.
Well, this is
because that's what I was.
But then she got to start.
This is giving very much. This is giving very much Sade.
It's giving very much preseason. Regular season, off season.
This is so long ago. This is like 2018.
Summer, all of that.
Oh my God.
No, this is long ago.
What?
18. So even pre-pandemic. Pre-pandemic. Yeah.
So the pandemic slowed her down.
That's what
very
I was
much
gonna
so.
say. That's what I was gonna say.
Well, that and just a desire for different. I wanted something different. I wanted something real, you know. And so for me, I was gonna say though, point I wanted to make is like for your starting five, to me, that's like the biggest challenge. For me, it was because I genuinely cared. Like I had some level of like attachment to these men. And so with that, I felt like I owed them an explanation as to why I'm about to cut them off. And something inside of me said, don't do that. They say either you're going to cut them off or you're not, because whether you give them an explanation or not, if they receive the explanation, I mean, what's that? Okay. And if they don't receive it, how is that going to change the outcome? So I say all that to say, like, if you've made up in your mind, like this is a path that you want to go down and you're going to be real serious about it, you got to do it. just do it at that moment. Don't think you need to explain nothing to these guys. Like I had one guy, which he was number one. He was the point guard. Okay.
First round draft pick.
Yeah, point guard. Like he was reaching out to my best friend. Like, you know, he had all the contacts, but I was just like, my best friend would reach out to me. She's like, so randomly reached out. I was like, oh yeah, girl, I don't, you know, whatever. And so my thing is like, I didn't even tell my best friend why I did it. I just did it, you know. And then as it came up, I explained to her why I did it. But I just say
you strong, because I would have needed somebody to hold me accountable. Okay.
Well, you just gotta
hold you accountable.
Huh?
What does that mean, hold you accountable? What do you mean by that?
I mean, in my seasons of cutting people off, I've always, and we've had this conversation too, like I've been good at ghosting people when there was no real like emotional connection. So people who I would date just because, you know, I'm wanting to get to know people or whatever in my dating life back when that was an actual thing. But I think for some people, even, so I use this for an example, since we truth transparency, I'll be transparent. So for instance, when me and Emmett broke up, during that time we were in a relationship and we broke up, I had to have people to hold me accountable, because it's like, if I say we're broken up, then that means we're broken up. Then that means we're not going to be in a situationship. We're not going to act like we're still together and we're not together. So I mean like that. So when it came to those type of situations, it was hard for me to sever ties without having accountability. So I'm saying for Lauren, like, you're super strong, like, especially when you're talking about the point guard. And usually a point guard is somebody that you got some history with, who you have some type of like emotional connection with, to just, you know, cold turkey cut them off and not even have accountability. And I mean, for our listeners out there, like I remember when I was younger and I would want to cut somebody off, me and my friends used to have this thing where it was like, girl, if you want to call him, just call me. Just call me. Just instead of dialing his number, call my number. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's what you got to do. Because I feel like, to Denise's point, if you don't get out of that cycle of continuing to date someone who's emotionally unavailable or has proven that they're not good for you, you don't end up in a good space.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, I was about to say, in all transparency, I definitely did that. Like, I definitely had people, I never told them that's what they were, but I would call them, like, if anytime I felt like calling the other person, like, for sure. And then sometimes I would get, in all transparency, sometimes I would get frustrated because they wasn't giving me what I was looking for in the conversation. Like, I knew if I could call this person, this is what I could get in the conversation, and you ain't giving it to me. So that's why I just felt like at a certain point, that has nothing to do with them, has a lot to do with me. I need to get myself together. And part of that was therapy. Like, part of that was talking to some older folk. I'm gonna be honest. Like, every young person should have an older person in their life that they can confide in, that can impart some type of wisdom. And it wasn't, I'm gonna be completely honest, it was healthy relationships that I've seen with older folk, like older women or men or both, who are in a healthy relationship, or even an older woman who's been single for a long time and she's doing it in a healthy way. Like, I would converse with people like that as well. So just kind of developing a new network and trying to like just remove that old mindset so that I can I don't know. I guess at that moment I can heal, because I realized in 2018 I was just so broken. Like, I knew I could find a temporary fix, but I really wanted to heal because I knew I wanted better than what I had just went through. So I knew in order to get to that point, I couldn't carry the same baggage that I just left. Like, I had to genuinely heal from that. And in that process, God graced me with amazing friendships. Like, if you think about it, we weren't as close as we were in 2018. In 2018, like another friend group that I'm a part of, like, we weren't as close. And like, God really fostered strong women in my life. Like, he gave me beautiful networks that I tell you all the time, I think it's lifelong friendships. And it's proven that even with me now moving into a whole nother zip code, the connections are still there. And anytime we link up, it's like, you almost didn't miss a beat. You know, I think things like that are just so now precious to me. And God, I thank God, because I really believe like what God did in that moment was he was giving me an example of good friendships, so that when that time finally comes, I have a reference point, I have a precedent. And before that, I had good friendships, but it's different because it's like these are friendships that are embedded in Christ. Like each and every one of my friends have a personal relationship with Christ. Each and every one of my friends are open-minded, are can tell me like, something about myself, and I respect it. It's not like I get offended, but like they could tell me something about myself and I know how to receive it. Like all of these are aspects that I desire in a relationship. But prior to 2018, I ain't had it. I ain't had it at all. And so I didn't know how to receive it. I didn't know how to adjust. I didn't know how to have a healthy relationship, a healthy friendship. And the beautiful thing is that it extends beyond just women. It's men too. Like I have beautiful relationships with men as well. And it's simply friendships. I thank God for that too. I said, God, if they got to be ugly, like let it be what it gotta be.
Oh my.
It's the truth though. You got to pray. You got to like, Lord, if it's ugly male friends, whatever you gotta do, like let it be what it gotta be. But I just want to make sure that I'm
thinking about our episode about you and your best friend.
Oh my God.
No, I'm not saying that.
Not sure they calling Jason ugly.
I've never even seen Jason. I would not call Jason ugly at all. I said I'm thinking about that because Lauren has shared that she can have healthy relationships with men, which made me reference the episode about her and her best friend.
A lot of people were skeptical. It's okay.
I'm still skeptical, but
no, you shouldn't. You shouldn't be. It's been that way now for a long time. So my thing is, if it was gonna be that, it would have been that. I think by now it could have been several opportunities, but it's just not that. That's not what God has for me.
Look at Ayana.
That's not what God has for me. So
really quick, the beginning of what you were saying and what Sade was saying, I wanted to share something that my friend shared with me. So if you're listening, I really wanted to share these. Do not be sending paragraphs to somebody you are not committed to and somebody that you know is not good for you. Like the moment you should not be spilling your heart out and going back and forth with somebody that is not that person for you, and you know they're not that person for you. So that's all I was gonna say. I'm practicing myself.
Denise, there's something about sending a paragraph long text message.
Listen,
that just it do something to you when you typing it out.
It do, and don't let it start with.
And
you clearly got me. Or I done sent every paragraph you can think. Every paragraph I done sent it. I'm the paragraph queen.
Oh Jesus,
child, I done because y'all know I love a good note. I done wrote a whole note and hit the share button.
I didn't even know that was a thing. That's a thing.
Yeah, I was texting. Whatever I got to say on my mind, I'm typing it in the notes, and then I say, I'm just gonna share it to them.
Oh my, y'all don't do that.
I had one person respond me, I read the whole thing.
She sent a book. She sent a book.
Yeah, I agree with that. Don't do that.
Don't do that, y'all. They feel good. But if you got to do that, then you don't need to be doing it.
Yeah.
So
don't do that.
Lord. I had something to say and now I'm completely thrown off. Lord Jesus.
Give it back to the Holy Spirit. Give it back.
Lord, give it back to me. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say a lot of times, because of course, we have women who will be dating and then they'll meet somebody and think like, oh, this is the person, and it doesn't work out, and they kind of like stay tethered to that person. I think it's important to like let God be God. Like what God has for you is for you. And you can't conjure up something happening, even if you feel like God has said whatever. It's like you got to let God work things out in his timing for you. So even when it comes to like dating with a purpose, and I think that's one thing that as a Christian woman you should do, you should date with a purpose. But to Ayana's point, that doesn't mean that every man you meet on the first date is like, is this my husband? It's just like, no, like just get to know people. Yeah. And if God speaks to you, then let God do it. God is responsible for what he's promised, not you.
That's good, because when you do that, it's God. Like
Yeah.
I tell people all the time when people talk about dating around, and I say I can't date multiple people because when I it don't work, I need to know it really didn't work because it didn't work, not because my attention was elsewhere, because that's how my brain works. But when you take that route and you truly trust God to literally do whatever He's gonna do for you in that and concerning that area, myself included, when it does come, it can't be nobody but Him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I shared this with y'all off mic, I guess you would call it, about a friend that I had that was in a relationship for like 2 years. And she was with this guy and she was like asking him, like, what are we doing? Basically like saying, like, I'm ready to be married and I'm ready to be happy. And whether that's with you or without you, I'm not going to continue to live life and allow you to waste my time if I'm not it. And I feel like after you're with a person for 2 years, you know that they're it. And if you don't know if they're it, then they're not it. Like that's how I feel. After you're a certain age, I feel like after 2 years, you would know. And similar to her, and she said she did, she went on a fast or whatever, and some other different things had happened, and her and the person ended up breaking up. And she said within like 2 months, she had reconnected with someone she dated in her past. And within 3 months after that, she was engaged and literally will be married before the year is over. And it made me realize, like, God can do things so quickly. And I think that we have certain timelines in our mind, but it's like, and it's funny because when her and I guess the person started kind of having their disagreements, it was in December of last year. And she was like, where do you see yourself this time next year? And I don't remember what she said. The guy said, but she said, well, I see myself in love and happy. Like I see myself happy and in love. And she said, when she said it in her mind and in her spirit, she felt like, and that's with or without you. Like, I know, like, that's where I'm going to be. And literally this December, she will be married. So it's like, God can do some extraordinary things when you rely on Him and you cast that care back on Him. You give it back to Him and submit even your dating life, so to speak.
I love that you said that, Sade, because to me, what I took from what you said was, number one, like your good girlfriend did not ignore her internal feelings that she desired for herself. And I think sometimes us as women, we get in this conditioned mindset because you are so influenced by what you're seeing on social media about what a woman desires. And, is she wanting too much or is she doing too much? And I don't think it's a mistake that God gives you those internal desires that you have for yourself. Like, don't ignore those things. And I love the fact that, number one, your friend was able to call it. Like, she was like, I see myself in love and in happy. How many people will be so afraid to say that to their partner and scared because of his response? Like, well, I don't know if he wants to marry me, so I don't know if I should say that. Mm-hmm. But in that instance, your friend was just like, it is what it is. This is what I see. And I love that you say that, because I feel like, I know for a fact, me personally, I've been in a process now where I've been doing that. And it's not necessarily me, having a public service announcement, say, check one, I want to let all y'all know. It's not that type of energy, but it is a thing of like in the private quarters of my own space, I tell God really what I desire. And every time I say that, it's a reminder to me anytime I'm out and about and I don't see the thing that I just asked God for. Right. And so I say all that to say that, like, sometimes when we get into a position as women, especially single women, where we begin to ignore those internal desires that we have for ourselves, we are now reconditioning our mind to accept things when we're out and about, or accept things that we really don't want. But anytime you start to like vocalize and say, this is what I desire, God, I'm asking you to do this in my life. When you're out and you begin to see the mirage, or you begin to see something that it's an image of what you want, but it's not the actual thing. It's a replica of what you want. You can easily say, this is not it. That's not what I asked for. Like, God, this is what I asked for, So I say all that to say, like, women, don't do yourself a disservice. Like, don't be afraid I would start in the personal quarters of your space. Some of our desires may sound really, really wild. It really, to someone else, it may sound really, really wild, but to God, it may sound just right. Like, I'm so glad you said it. God, no, it's about time you start saying it. Like, I'm gonna use for example, then I'm gonna let, because I see Denise is going to say something. I'm gonna use for an example.
I mean, literally, this just happened. I'm like, okay, God.
I'm gonna use this for an example. There's a young lady that I follow on social media where she said she told God she don't want to work. And it sounds crazy because if you say that, especially in 2022,
that don't sound crazy. That
well,
don't
I'm
sound
saying
crazy.
it don't sound crazy, but I'm saying
Yes and
not to me it
amen.
doesn't. Not to me it definitely doesn't. But I mean,
We can
to
all
certain-
agree. We don't want to work.
we don't want to work. Right. She said she wanted to be a housewife, but she said she wanted to be a housewife to a man that can afford her lifestyle plus. And so she said she used to like not like shy away from that. She used to vocalize that consistently. And God granted her that. And now she's engaged to be married to a full doctor that can afford the lifestyle and everything that she desires, and keeping her, and told her to quit her job. So I'm just saying all that to say, like, it's out there, you know. But I'm gonna let Denise.
So literally going with what you just said, right? It's probably been a couple months, because I remember coming back from a trip, so it was definitely a couple months. But going back to what I said earlier too, like, oh my God, would I be willing to say this to somebody that I'm dating? This is when God was dealing with me, and exactly what you're saying. And I remember I said that I wanted something specific, and immediately in my heart I felt the So the same as how you're saying God will, give you the desires. It's okay to tell him what you want. He'll even let you know when what you're asking for really isn't your own heart's desire. You just saw something online and you thought it was cute, and you be like, okay, Lord, yeah, I want this. Immediately, he was like, no. And it gave me such a peace. Like, I started to cry because it lets me know, one, like, you're not going to let me down in this area, right? Like, if I can tell you that I want something, and you love me so much that you immediately tell me, no, that's not even good for you. That's not what you should have. There's no way you're not going to grace and cover me and blow my mind with the man that I take his last name and submit to. And I will gladly submit wholeheartedly to the right person. So literally God had to like take me through this whole thing. And I just want to encourage who's ever listening. It's a process. Like, it's not, sometimes it's cute and sometimes it's really ugly with him showing you stuff about yourself that whomever he has for you, it's not the traits that you have aren't going to complement that. And it's better for you to go through your growing pains and let him deal with you in those areas, because he's not going to allow you to hurt the person that he's going to bring into your life. And it's so cute to say, oh yeah, this is what I want. But let me tell you how. Check with him, and when you know you're being influenced, because we talk about this on a podcast before about how people get cute and get married and want to go viral and they want to show their person for this reason. Like, my marriage is a whole ministry, and he ain't even here yet. Sade just had a beautiful post about her husband and a confession that she shares, with their marriage. Like, God literally had to be like, this is what this is. What you're called to do, who you're connected with, going back to what Lauren said about networks. If it's like this now, imagine when the man comes. He don't turn it down because you're getting married. It amplifies. Yeah. So that's all I wanted to share, because that literally just happened to me, where me and God were going back and he had to get me together.
That's so good, Teresa.
When you said, your marriage is a ministry and it's not even here yet, it reminded me, of course, Sylvester and I say that all the time about our life is ministry, our marriage is ministry, our family is ministry. And I don't think people really look at that when it comes to relationships. They look at the internal and what it can do for them only versus how it can amplify and impact the kingdom, and really show God for who he is in everything. So when we're looking at relationships, look for God. When when you're looking at I need to see the God in you, so that we can show who God is to other people. It's not just about, oh, he's a cute guy or she's a cute girl. What is that person's life lining up to be? And how can, I'm not saying that everybody is supposed to start a church or do this or do that. Like, your everyday life is ministry, because we got to be careful with that, because we done talked about this before. People get married and then it's like, oh, we got a podcast, a YouTube channel, we counseling people, all of that, and I'm like,
and ain't called to do none of it.
Yeah, I'm like, you just got married last week, but the little things, like Denise said, the post that Sade put up, who knows how many women were blessed by that, you know, and seeing healthy relationships. I mean, even I would listen, I gotta shout Sade and EJ out, because it was so cute this past weekend. This is me looking at my phone like, oh, because I love to see it. Listen.
And that like having community that really is happy to see happy marriages is a huge thing.
I wish I wasn't on a fast. I didn't.
That's one thing that's one thing I don't play with. Like, I want to see healthy marriages, healthy families. I don't like seeing drama. And then I'm like, it's nothing wrong with showing that love. Show your love so people can see what it really looks like, and not the fake social media viral posts and all of that. But I know when I see them, like, I mean, you know, I know, like, it's not just on the screen. It's like when you meet them in person, you see that love as well. So yeah, I
love that. I appreciate that, Ayana. And it's funny that you say that, because I went back and forth with myself so many times about posting it. And a part of me is like, I don't want to feel like, you know, I'm rubbing anything in anybody's face or whatever. Lauren is like, what are y'all talking about? Okay, so Lauren, really quick, we're going to give you a 30-second recap so that you can catch up since you're not on social. So Saturday, Emmett did like a surprise date night. We went to Velvet Taco over there by Jenny's, by where you used to live or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And we went to Velvet Taco, and then we left, and he was like, oh, let's grab some dessert. Where you want to get dessert? And I was like, I want to get Jenny's. And I was like, it's right next door. And he was like, no, let's go to the Jenny's on Howell Meal. So we go, I guess, towards Howell Meal and end up at Putt Shack, which I've been wanting to go to all year, but it's always booked up. So we ended up going to Putt Shack. And then he was like, oh, you know, I think Jenny's is closed. Let's go to Cafe Intermezzo. We all know that I will sit at Cafe Intermezzo until 3 a.m. And so we're going, I don't have a sense of direction. So in my mind, we're going to Cafe Intermezzo. But we ended up pulling up at the JW Marriott. And I was like, what is this? And he was like, this is a new dessert spot. They got like a little rooftop situation.
I bet it is.
Lauren,
I'm sorry.
Why are you like this? And so he's like, yeah, they got this rooftop thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, I ain't never been here. Like, this is so nice. Oh, this is nice. So shall we get in the elevator? We go up, we get off on like the 17th floor or something like that. And I was like, we're not going to no rooftop. And so we get to the room. He's like, rose petals everywhere, and like little heart, like rose petals on the bed, and like dozens of roses in vases. And it's just like, I was just like, oh my gosh. It was just like,
so
and he had packed my stuff for me. It was just like super sweet.
And that right there, like everything was sweet. But when she was like, he packed my bonnet, I was like, that's what I'm talking about. I was like, you better do that. You better pay attention to them details. Because black women, we don't play about our hair.
Baby, I need a bonnet or a satin pillowcase, or we're not going to survive. We're not going to survive. And, you know, I did the reel or whatever, and I was like, well, I don't want to post it because I just don't want people to feel like whatever. And, you know, people always feel like if you posting this and that, then this and this and that. And it was like, Emmett literally was like, no. He was like, people need to see healthy relationships so that they know that they exist.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
I appreciate that.
I want to say, to me, that means a lot to hear, because I mean, I think you did post it on social media, but your family just went through even a loss, and it was technically on Emmett's side. So for me, in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, for him to be emotionally, you know, going through what he's going through with such a major loss like that, and to still think of you so highly, to be so intentional to do all of that and effortless. Seemed like it was really seamless, girl. Like what the girls be like, you got a real one.
But it goes back to like even the conversations we were having earlier. Like, I feel like even when I'm transparent in smaller groups, and I'm like, yeah, you know, me and my husband, we dated and we broke up and we ended up having to get back together, and all of these different things and trials and tribulations that we went through. But it's like you see the end result of something that you don't know, you know, what was sown in tears. You see me reaping in joy, but you didn't see me sowing in tears. And so I feel like for a lot of us, we have to realize when it comes to the relationship and the dating part, that everything's not going to be perfect, but it's purposeful when you keep God in the center of it. And that's why when, you know, we talk about Lauren's spirit of discernment, like that's why you have to discern like what is true, what it is that God wants you to do. So,
yep.
It was something Ayana had said earlier, when you were talking about relationships, and you kind of hinted to, like, I don't know if sometimes people look at our relationship and see, you know, like, I guess kind of are able to read the testimony off of it. But I want to be the first one to say that I think about you and Baka often.
All the time.
When I say often, I mean so often. And a lot of times it's dealing with y'all safe place, haven. And I think about the fact that in conjunction to that, I think about the scripture that says, though it tarries, like wait for it, you know, because I think sometimes like us as single women, we just we get in our heads. And to be honest, I feel like the attack against single, not only women, but single people in general is so strong. Like you have so many different outside opinions that are constantly like trying to impose their thoughts and opinions on you. And if it doesn't take a God in you, or if it doesn't take you just being laser focused, and if you decide to turn your head, you're only turning your head to be a witness to the different testimonies that you're seeing God move through, you will find yourself literally just in a downward spiral of thoughts and opinions about your life and opinions about your level of trust in God. Like there's a verse in the Bible that says, like, prove me now, like prove me now. And I think even with single people, like you can prove God in the smallest of things. Like I'm gonna give a minor testimony, and it has nothing to do with relationships, but it has all to do with like what Lauren loves and like how intentional God is for me. Like, so I have been in this little thing now where I am collecting red bottoms. It is what it is. I love them. It's just something
we love it.
I love to do. And I asked God, I remember asking God, I said, God, I really want the suede black ones, but I don't want to pay the retail value for them. Don't want to pay the retail value, but I really, really want them. And, you know, I saw the patent leather ones and I saw the patent leather ones had gotten on sale. So I said, I guess I'll take that one since it's on sale. But in my heart of hearts, I wanted the suede ones. And so the patent leather ones came in, hurt my feet terribly, just terribly. They the size as every other ones that I have, but they hurt my feet.
Okay.
Yeah, they're so okay. They're the so okay, but they hurt my feet. The rest of them were fine, but these, they hurt my feet really, really bad. And so this week I was just like, just scrolling. And God told me not to buy them, but I was like, I guess I'll get them because, you know, it's on sale and they're technically black, but it's just not the ones I wanted. I'm scrolling. God revealed to me the red bottoms that were like 50% off, the suede black ones that were 50% off. I got them. They came in the mail, fit perfectly. Now, this is sounding like something that is just like kind of left field, but I think for me, it's
the little things. It's
the little things
in everything. Acknowledge
it's
the
reflective too. Like if you think about it, it's reflective of like relationships, because we'll ask God for something and you'll see something that it looks like it's on sale and it's readily available, like the black patent leather socates that I got. And so you'll tell yourself, I want to get it. I'm going to go ahead and get it. It's readily available. It's on sale. And technically it looks like what I want. Technically it's black. It's okay, but it's not the thing that I asked God for. And you'll get it and you'll try it on and it won't fit.
But you know, the best part of that story though, the ones that you really wanted, God still gave you.
Yeah.
And you want to know the better part of the story is when the shoes didn't fit, you made a decision to say, like, I'm not even going to force it. I'm just going
let it go. And I told my mom, crazy thing is I told my mom, I said, I'm going to give them away to a girl that been wanting them. That's what I told my mom. I said, I'll just give them away. So my thing was, I was, to your point, like how you saying, like I'm relating it to a relationship. A lot of times we'll say, we'll take the thing that's like readily available, But God's like, I just need you to give that away. Like, that's somebody else's blessing. That ain't
Yeah.
yours.
That's so good. That part right there.
That's
Not
good.
even
That's good.
that's somebody else's blessing. That's not even yours.
Throwing it back in the pool. Once you discern this
throw it
is
back.
not for me,
Yeah.
throw it back.
Yeah.
And imagine her wearing them and stretching them out and just
Girl,
because
I won one time and tiptoeing.
And there are literally people out here trying to stretch out relationships,
wearing folks
that's
out.
my point.
Marriages,
Wearing them out.
toxic cycles,
Yep.
all of this stuff.
wearing something that wasn't what you asked for,
Yep.
wasn't God's best, but your best was out there.
Yep.
If you would have just given away what it was that you weren't supposed to hold on to in the first place. But for the fact of you didn't want to have nothing, you held on to what was good enough.
Mm.
And the crazy thing is, like, if just to kind of add to it, the black suede ones were cheaper than the patent leather ones. So my thing is, if I had just waited on what God wanted or what God was going to give me, my prayer, if I had just waited on the prayer, it wouldn't have cost me as much as the black patent leather ones.
I mess around and run around this table, Lauren. Go ahead, stop playing. Stop playing, Lauren.
I mean, we're relating this to Christian lubes, but I mean, it's a message.
Listen, it's a message.
It is a message.
It's a message in the shoe.
Yeah.
I don't think there's nothing else to be said.
It's a message.
It's a mic drop for me.
It's a message. And so I just say all that to say, like, I know I started with Ayana and then moved to, but I'm saying it's just so many revelations that God can give you as it concerns a single space. But you just got to be open to receive, and you can't be blindsided by the foolishness of other people trying to impose thoughts into your head. It's gonna sound crazy to me. I think about this all the time. I said, I bet Apple sounded crazy until it happened.
Yeah.
I bet the iPod sounded crazy. The AirPod sounded crazy until it happened. I bet the internet sounded crazy until it happens. So like your prayers that like you're asking God for, like it's going to sound crazy to other people because it's not their prayers. It's not what they're asking God for, but it's for you. And it fits perfectly for what God has afforded for your life or has intended for your life. So I just say remain in that vein and like just watch God work. Like that's where I'm at. I'm like, God, if you do it for some shoes.
Some
shoes, something I put my foot in here and there. I could only imagine, and I think about that all the time. I say, God, if you give me this job, this level of job, if you give me this shoes, if you give me this opportunity, I can only imagine like what the gift that you have in store for me concerning this thing. And I think Denise and I was talking about this too one time. It's like sometimes those prayers that you are praying for, like those like really, really good prayers, like it got to take a while for it to come. Like it's not gonna come overnight because it's just that special. Like I feel like I'm talking a lot, but I was literally reading on Adam and Eve, and there was a part of the scripture that God had told Adam to find a suitable partner. And if you continue to read, it says that Adam comes back to God and said, God, I haven't found a suitable partner, meaning that there was some time between the time God asked him and the time he came back to him that he was like, God, I'm looking, but I ain't finding nothing. And God said, all right, bet. He said, I'm gonna put you in a deep sleep. And he said, and in the deep sleep, he took the rib and I'm sorry, he took the womb and then, call it woman and all that jazz. And so my thing is like, God revealed to me, he said, don't forget that I am a creator. Meaning, if you're going through life and you're not seeing the thing that you're praying for, maybe I'm in the midst of creating it. Like creation was the first thing that I did. That was the first miracle that I did. And I feel like sometimes us as believers, we lose sight of the fact that God, he's a creator. That's what he loves to do. He loves to create. And I feel like sometimes we're trying to see, is it readily available? Whole time, God's like, nah, I'm in the back creating this. So that when I'm ready to reveal it, you'll see the miracle, you'll see the wonder. And the crazy thing is when I reveal it, you'll know exactly that it's yours. Yeah. Like when I read about Adam and Eve, when he revealed Eve, Adam already knew that's my blessing. Like that's mine. So I say all that to say too, like just keep in mind, like God got your back. Like I don't know, we was talking about a dating pool, but like, maybe God over here building a whole nother pool with just one person. So you can just dive in it,
Pool. It's a kiddie pool. It's a small one.
She's stuck on this jacuzzi instead of the pool.
Right, with jets, got jet setting.
Oh my gosh.
Lord.
And on that note, we're gonna wrap Lauren up.
But that's it. That's all I have.
I feel like there's nothing more to be said. Ayana, Denise, did you have something? I mean, I feel like Lauren mic dropped. I have nothing else to add. Thank you for tuning in today.
Yes.
We pray that this episode has been a blessing. I'm married and it was a blessing to me. So I hope there was something that was said that encouraged you.
Yeah.
Please be sure, like, if you want to keep listening, if this is your first podcast, make sure you check us out on all podcast platforms at Save Girl Secrets. Make sure you subscribe to us, and then catch us on our social mediums at Save Girl Secrets on Facebook and Instagram, at Save Girl Secret, no S on Twitter. As always, we love you. Good God bless you. Love and peace. Bye.
Took my line, G.